Welcome to Why They Built It podcast, hosted by SirenAI. We bring you raw, no BS conversations with founders building tomorrow, the spark, the pivots, and the vision that refuse to die. Let's get into today's story.
Hello guys, I'm Ashish and welcome to SirenAI podcast, powered by SirenAI Flows. Today we have Satheesh from FarmHawk. Hello Satheesh.
Yeah, Ashish, how are you? Good to speak to you guys from the Siren community.
So we can start with your introduction. Satheesh, let us explain what you do and what does FarmHawk do.
Great. So again, my name is Satheesh Kumar Padolkar. I'm the founder of Kratos Innovation Labs, which is a 10-year-old company. We've been in this space in blockchain and recently in Web3 in the last 10 years. In the last, with all our customer feedback, so we have come out with this platform called FarmHawk. So imagine the bird hawk. It can see from about 2 kilometers. So we are basically like the bird using satellites to basically start looking at the satellite farms across the world. And our focus has been only in the global south to be able to help a lot of smallholder farmers in this region.
Got it. So can you explain me in a little bit detail about how you are helping farmers with FarmHawk?
So to explain that, I have to tell you the background about what's happening with the farmers in this part of the world. As a human being, we have basic necessities, food. Somebody has to produce it. And if you look at smallholder farmers, so by definition, they don't have more than 5 acres of land. But if you start from South America, from Brazil, Peru, all the way to Africa, India, and up to Bali, we have approximately 500 smallholder farmers. And out of them, 70% are not able to get cheaper credit, which means they end up paying so much of interest for whatever loans they take. And that's exactly where we are trying to start in the pre-harvest stage to start assisting them through the FarmHawk technology. And the way we are doing it without confusing farmers with blockchain, AI, and all these terms is to be able to just map their farm, which is an asset. So if you look at 1 acre or 2 acres of land, it is going to be permanent. It is non-fungible, which is unique geolocation part of it. So if you can tie that particular farm to a farmer, I think we can unlock a lot of financial data about them. That's where we start. And how we help farmers here as a hook is once we do the GIS mapping of the farm, through the satellite imagery, we provide them precision agriculture alerts. Simple things that are very, very crucial for the growth of crop or survival of the crop is to be able to understand whether they have enough moisture, is there a pest attack, is there enough micronutrients in the soil. And this technology is not affordable to the farmers because a lot of companies took a different perspective. They try to overcharge or make it so complex that they don't really bring it to them. So what we are trying to do is that if you can bring the technology at less than $1 per month, what's going to happen here is the farmers can actually benefit a lot through our technology, decreasing the chemical fertilizers, decreasing pesticides, and then going on to make more produce per farm, which will in turn increase their bottom line, which is the revenues basically.
Got it. I definitely understand the impact that you are trying to create it. As you mentioned in your explanation, there are multiple phases involved. First is the information, second is the capital,
correct,
and third is the decentralized distribution of this capital so that people from all over the world can participate in this initiative. As everybody knows about, everybody want to contribute in agriculture because as the global warming is heating up and the geopolitical situation, everybody is trying to own an agricultural land.
Correct.
And I think from FarmHawk, we are also getting a possibility of the same. Can you explain us the entire process, how the workflow for the farmer will be working and why you are using blockchain for the same?
Correct. So first clarification is we do not acquire farmers.
Yes.
Because we are a technology company, we are into the blockchain space, we are not into operations. That works well for us. What we do, we are predominantly a B2B company.
Makes sense.
So we work with farmer cooperatives. So if you look at India and African markets, for every 5 to 6 villages, the government normally asks them to have a cooperative. Within the cooperative, there are field officers. The two things what we have understood in the last 6 to 7 years of our research, right? First of all, the farmers do not have smartphones, not many of them, but 30 to 40% of them have smartphones. So we don't want to rely on their access to smartphones. So we go and train the field officers within the cooperatives, and each village has 1 or 2 field officers that have smartphones or tablets where they can really show, do the mapping of the farm, they can show all the data. That's how we start. That's our initial hook we call. And what we do is that, it just worked well for us for the last 5 to 6 years, is that we handhold the cooperatives for one crop cycle. Let's say Jan to June or July to December. Typically 2 cycles in the global south. So we provide them enough credits for them to use the technology and see the value addition, what they're getting. A couple of things what we solve is that if you are able to give alerts every week, say for example, a pest attack happened. If the farmer is waiting for an agriculture officer that's coming after 15 days, it's of no use because the crop would have, there's a crop loss and the farmer would have lost the entire crop. Our technology, we encourage them to do a scan every week. So imagine we human beings, we do our blood tests and then scan. We do the same for the agriculture farms. That's the biggest, and to simplify that, right? We are able to now tell if there is a moisture to a precision level of 10 meters by 10 meters. Second thing what we are trying to unlock is called regenerative agriculture. As you rightly said, climate change, we have global warming. In fact, if you look at the statistics, about 20% of the global greenhouse gas emissions are actually coming from agriculture. Think about a lot of chemical fertilizers these farmers are putting, pesticides, and obviously the methane coming from the livestock around these agriculture fields. If you are able to go and tell them, for example, 1 acre of land, the pest attack may be only 30%. Today, the biggest problem on ground, say in Africa, South America, or in India, the moment they see some stress, they go to the fertilizer shop, buys so much of chemical fertilizers and pesticides, they try to spray them across the entire field, which is not required. So our mission is to basically reduce the use of chemical fertilizers so that it is good for the climate. But the other thing that's going to really happen is that it is good on the wallet. Today, if they're spending $20 to buy fertilizers, we're reducing to less $10, maybe $8. So immediate profit gains in the middleware. And if you can reduce the cost of inputs, which is fertilizers and pesticides, they don't have to take so much of loan. That's what we're trying to unlock. I will, we can talk about how we are doing at each stage, but this is the overall thing what we are trying to achieve. And I will talk about in pre-harvest what happens, post-harvest what happens, and how the technology is acting as a horizontal layer to solve all these vertical problems.
Got it. Makes sense. And where is the blockchain is being utilized over here?
That's a good question, right? Not many people want to understand blockchain for agriculture, which I also didn't understand. Initial 3 years I was doing something else. And when we did a traceability for one of our biggest customers in Texas, the problem is solved, just 2018, is that there's a lot of parallel imports of beef into the American market. So when a customer enters Walmart or H-E-B Plus, one of the top supermarkets in US, they're bombarded by so many made options, but they don't know whether it's American made or coming from other country, right? So we started using traceability. That was our very first use case. We call provenance. Today, when somebody walks into H-E-B Plus, they can scan a QR code on the meat, and they can actually trace back whether it came from US or it came from other country. That's the first part. But when you looked at all these use cases, the very first thing where we use blockchain is something called as a proof of data, which is very, on a micro level, we should be in a position to sell, give the clean data. That's exactly why blockchain comes in. Because blockchain is immutable, as we all know. If I commit and say that if I'm growing wheat and I take a picture of the wheat crop and I take the geolocation part of it, cross-check with the satellite imagery. What comes out of that is something called the proof of data, which is what we actually commit on the blockchain. 8 years before, we were just taking pictures of this and putting on the blockchain. That is one use case. Now, if somebody wants to defraud the system, today the camera, the mobile phones can do 100x zoom, 20x zoom. So we don't want a farmer to stand in their farm and zoom into this neighbor's farm and say that it's all good, right? So what we are trying to say is that if a farmer says, okay, I've got good quality or growth of the crop, you could actually cross-check with the satellite imagery. That's exactly our hook. We started from satellite imagery first, then came down for blockchain. So that's the first thing why we use blockchain and Web3 at the moment.
Got it. So I also wanted to highlight a point where SirenAI Flows is also collaborating with FarmHawk. So FarmHawk initially started working with enterprises, but we believe this is such a great technology, how we can decentralize the access of this technology to retail audience also, and for everybody who want to be the part of this economy. Agriculture and farming is one of the booming sector that contribute in, I think, more than 30% of the global GDP.
Correct.
So this is also very underutilized over the period of time. People have lost the interest over it. And when I first had a chat with Satheesh, the passion in which he was explaining about me as a tech person, also got excited, okay, how I can be the part of this. So then SirenAI Flows came in. The technology that Satheesh was providing to enterprises is now also enabled to the retail users with SirenAI Flows. So I want Satheesh to take a lead on this and share us how a normal user can also be the part of this initiative with FarmHawk, and how they can be part of this, the yield that it will be generated from this platform.
That's a good one, because then we can now focus on a couple of things that happen. So I'll give you a summary of what happens in agriculture. The first use case is lending part of it. Today, the biggest problem with the farmers is they end up paying 24% to 48% per annum interest. With blockchain, I think we can reduce it to 8%. That's the first use case we have. Now look at from the people that they want to contribute. So today, we have a lot of people, they have wallets. We have USDT or USDC lying in our custodial wallets, not getting any yield. Statistically, only 6% of the wallets across the world are generating yield. Reason being, they don't know where to put it in a risk-free kind of liquidity pools. Where we have been proposing is that if you have, say, $100, so this could be even $10 you could contribute to a liquidity pool. But the simplest use case is that if you and I contribute $100 to a liquidity pool, that could be used to lend to farmers at 8%, for example, per annum. We're already reducing the cost of capital from 24% to 8%. On a commercial side, you and I are actually getting 6% yield, just for lending part of it. And why this is risk-free? Because we lend to the cooperatives, we don't lend to the farmers directly. Reason being that today farmers may not understand blockchain wallets, so it's going to be friction out there. But what we have tested is with a lot of cooperatives, where when we train them, we can train them, especially in Africa. There's a lot of USDT, USDC flowing around because of inflation issues there. So we can lend it to the cooperatives. Of course, we have a lot of collateral that they can provide, the land or other things. And we also guarantee that we buy back the produce from the farmers. So what is going to happen is, this will allow the farmers to get good market price. Today they get, whoever is they're taking from loan sharks or the middlemen, what they're taking the loans, they are determining the price when the harvest is completed. Whereas when we cut down all these middlemen, which is a good use case for blockchain, we are lending at say 6% or 8%. We are buying back at the better than market prices, and we get back. So I'll take a simple use case of black pepper. Black pepper is a non-perishable produce. Historically, if you look at last 50 years, when the harvest happens in January or February, like what we're speaking today, there's too much of supply in the market. The price goes down. The agents buy at whatever throwaway prices. And all they are doing now is they're storing this black pepper in their warehouse. And they're selling it in May or June when the prices go by 30%. So we said, why not we do that in blockchain? So we are basically lending at say 8%. We guarantee buyback of black pepper. And now we don't sell in the market. We put it in a warehouse and we tokenize them. Because these are basically non-perishable for 6 to 8 months, nothing happens to this one. And we can tokenize and put it on the warehouse and then sell it at, let's say, 30-40%. So if people want to stay for 6 months and they can get more than 12 to 15% yield. But if they really want to take the money on the day of sale, they can guarantee 6% yield. That's the biggest first use case which I wanted to discuss with you, where blockchain, the stable coins can be used as a liquidity pools for lending and also for asset tokenization, real world asset tokenizations.
That's great. That's great. So this is the first use case where the lending has been available for the farmers at like 3x cheaper cost, correct, as compared to the traditional farmer. As in the farmers in the global south, emerging country have to rely on the loan sharks, what we call for lending at 24%. That is like 2% per month they have to give it.
Exactly.
And they also have to collateral the land,
correct,
for the same. And this loan shark tried to exploit the founder. So we can create a democratized environment where the people who are looking for yield, they are getting a 6% stable yield.
Correct.
That is much more than the normal 1-2% yield that is being currently given out on the stable coin.
Right.
That is a one use case. And the second use case is also the ownership of the yield, the produce yield,
correct,
that I was talking about. So if you can share some light, Satheesh, on that part also.
Right. So just to extend the use case, what happens is that the moment the produce comes in, let's say we bought 100 tons of black pepper. The moment we move to a warehouse, it is now asset backed.
Yes.
So not many people understand. Now people talk about assets on real estate, which is the biggest use case, obviously. But if you look at same as an asset, black pepper, which is not going to get degraded. So we are putting in the one. So what we can also create, we can also do liquid staking, which means the moment the asset is in the warehouse, we get a warehouse receipt or proof of the asset there. We can actually mint liquid tokens. So anybody can trade for the 6 months. So if you need liquidity, you put in $100. You want to wait, you don't want to wait until May or June. You're open. You can come back, give your liquid tokens, take back the yield, what is available on that day. But if I can wait for 6 months, I probably get a bigger yield. Not only 6%, I can get 12% or even 18%. Because it is directly proportional to how much we sold in the market. And again, all the data is on the blockchain, so there's nothing manipulation that happens on the sale price. And it is governed by a DAO. So not a single person owns the decision making. So you can create a decentralized autonomous organization and then let the DAO take control of the purchase and sale, and everything is transferred on the blockchain. So this is the biggest, and it's a multi-billion market we're talking about, not a small one. Especially just for the spices, is about $6 to $7 billion market. Obviously on blockchain it takes time to adoption, but that is where we want to start. And we have done some pilots last year, especially in black pepper and turmeric, where we have seen good results coming in.
Got it. That's so cool, like getting a different kind of RW asset, that is agriculture produce, into the ecosystem, because not much of the people have tried this. And this is a very successful use case of this blockchain kind of technology,
Right.
where people are, apart from minting memes, are focusing on real utility and real assets. I also wanted to add some more points over it, how Satheesh Flows is also democratizing this access to more retail users. So the technology that FarmHawk has built has so wide application from farm perspective and also from the real estate perspective. And Satheesh Flows is trying to unlock all these wide applications. So initially we started with providing data for easy access of FarmHawk enterprise grade tech access in the form of a chatbot, where you can just go select the region, share the coordinates, and you will get all the details in the form of a chat. That's how Siren AI Flows is contributing towards it. But in the coming time, we will also unlock the application for real estate development and acquiring future agriculture land, or if you want to invest in any agriculture produce. So you will have all the detailed information how the yield will be there. So based on that, you can participate in lending, having an ownership of the asset or the yield that will be generating in. So Siren AI Flows will be unlocking all this potential in collaboration with FarmHawk in the coming time. So I would like to wrap this conversation very quickly. So what people should expect in the coming time with FarmHawk on the enterprise side, and FarmHawk is also deploying that agent on Siren AI. So is there any thesis that you wanted to share before we are wrapping up this conversation?
I think we are very much excited because when we looked at the Siren AI chatbot, I was seeing looking at today morning, I think it has really made easier for anybody to start integrating using our technology within 10 minutes. I've seen it myself, which is great because we are, as a technology company, we are focusing on the back end, giving out a lot of data. But if somebody using a Telegram bot or WhatsApp bot are able to get it. So simplest use case would be if somebody wants to buy an agricultural land, what we are providing today is two critical things. One is the fertility of the soil. If somebody is saying that can I start a date plantation, or we have a customer in this part of the world where they are into date plantations, anybody can buy a small piece of date plantation or an acre of it. Where FarmHawk is coming in this case is basically acting as a due diligence layer. If I'm sitting in the UK, I want to buy some date plantation in UAE or somebody in India or Africa, I don't have to fly down all the way. We are a verification technology. Because we are on blockchain, we cannot go and tell whatever it is. Whatever his satellite is showing, we are showing the data. So you can be sure somebody sitting in one part of the world can now start investing on the agriculture real estate. That's the biggest what we will unlock in the coming weeks. The second thing, some of the use cases what we have not gone in deep is where exactly we do traceability part, wherein we can now do traceability of, say, a simple example we did is called Lakadong turmeric. It's one of the top quality turmeric in the world. Curcumin is about 7.4%. But the production is only about 100 tons a year. What we see in the market is about 1,000 tons being sold. Everybody says it's Lakadong turmeric. We can really prove that it's actually coming from Lakadong and what kind of social impact it is creating to the women farmers, which we've already done. And going back towards within the pre-harvest stage, because we are now able to highlight pest attacks or fertilizer, micronutrient stress, anybody can plug in. For example, if somebody is a fertilizers, is selling fertilizers or pesticides, they can be part of the marketplaces where they can now start selling within the thing, and it will be much cheaper than what people are doing. And the things we have also unlocked, things like we provide, within the lending part we are talking about, we provide credit line based access. So we don't have need farmer, because farmer doesn't need $1,000 on day one. He needs across multiple tranches. So blockchain can help. Smart contracts can actually unlock, look at all the data from satellite imagery and the pictures coming from the land, and they can start dispersing the loans. That way the cost of capital even comes down from 8% to 6.5%. So these are the couple of things. Again, we will not go into deep into that because it will become too technical. But the idea here is that we all believe that if you create a small change, it creates a big impact.
Definitely.
Right? Nobody thought about mapping 1 acre of land and what thing we can do. So this is our own experience last 6 to 7 years, where we have helped tons of farmers to really come out of the debt traps, better prices for their market. And again, we don't confuse them with blockchain, Web3 and AI, right? Because they will not understand. So we are basically training the field officers. They go and talk to the farmers and they try to help them without any confusion on the blockchain.
True. This is also very important to understand for the people in the space, like don't confuse the end user with a complex tech.
Correct.
Just try to solve the real problem.
Correct.
And from this closing statement, I would like to conclude the session. Thanks, Satheesh, for joining and collaborating with Siren AI Flows to also help us to be part of this mission. This is also a novel mission where we are trying to serve the underutilized people who are getting debt trapped with the loan sharks and helping them with other technology that we have created. Like as Satish mentioned, FarmHawk is trying to create a verification layer, and with Siren AI, we are creating a liquidation layer where anybody can provide liquidity, anybody can exit this liquidity. So this kind of a collaboration help us to try to solve the real purpose of the blockchain in the society and create impact. The major vision of Siren AI Flows collaborating with Satheesh is the impact that we are able to create with this and on the lives of the people and the access of the new asset class that we can generate for the retail users of Web3 all over the globe. So please stay tuned for more updates. Satheesh will be joining us soon on a live stream where we will be showing an actual live demo of everything. And Siren AI Flows will be making FarmHawk Agent live soon. So stay tuned for update. Thanks, Satheesh.
Thanks, Ashish.
It was a pleasure talking with you. And stay tuned for more updates. Thank you for joining us. We are signing off. I'm Ashish from Siren AI. And this is Siren AI Podcast. Thank you.